Beep, 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 beep.
Welcome back to my channel.
It's a good day to have a good day.
Thank you.
It's a good day to have a good day.
Joining me today on Bloomberg Studio 1.0, Anthony Tan and Huiling Tan, co-founders of Grab. Let's start at the beginning. You met at Harvard Business School. How did you two find each other?
Actually, it's really interesting. The first year we were in business school, we were in different classes. So the only times we met were when we were looking for Asian food. It was actually only in the second year that we started to really get to know each other, because we both serendipitously ended up taking the same class called Business at the Base of the Pyramid. Over that semester, I discovered that this guy is the hardest working guy ever. I was so glad he sat next to me because I was constantly taking his notes for class.
Yeah, she didn't do homework. I did the homework, and she copied my homework.
Are you okay with him saying that?
Completely fine, it's the truth. Everybody knows it.
You're from a big auto family in Malaysia. Did you know who he was?
I knew of his family. I didn't know of him personally. And to be honest, when I first discovered that he was the son of Tan Chong Motors, I wasn't particularly keen on getting to know him too much better because I had a bad conception around, rich families, their kids. They're not particularly hardworking, not necessarily always the nicest people.
And are you okay with her saying that?
Yeah, I mean, she's not too far from the truth. At one point, I would imagine a long time ago, I've been in those moments where I haven't been the most empathetical person, and I think over time, learning how to, have where I had to pay some of my own school fees, I had to go through work, do my own things. I worked in a factory, worked on the ground, assembling cars, going in a bus at 4:30 in the morning with our own teammates, assembling cars. I think those experiences humbled me and taught me a lot in life's lessons. And then by the time I got to HBS, thank God, that was when I was also a more grown up.
Your grandfather was the founder of Tan
Yes.
Chong Motors, which is
Yes.
a car company
That's
in
right.
Malaysia. Your father is the CEO.
That's right.
And you were working in marketing.
That's right. So first it was actually supply chain. So
Okay.
I ran supply chain. So from parts assembly, making sure all the parts were coming from all across the world, making sure it gets assembled nicely with a high quality standard.
How about you, Ling?
Grew up in a very typical middle-class family. My dad was a civil engineer, my mom a stockbroker at Malaysia. And to be honest, it was what you'd expect any other family to go through. Public schooling in Malaysia. I learned everything in Bahasa. So I only really picked up English very well when I went to undergrad in England.
So tell me how you get to HBS, you meet each other. How is Grab born?
Over conversations. So going back to the class that we sat next to each other at, it was a collection of cases of how to build sustainable businesses that have double and triple bottom lines. Whether it's in healthcare, whether it's in CPG, we learned so much. It's because of those great cases that sparked our mutual interest. Automotive industry, my terrible experiences taking taxis in a very unsafe environment in Malaysia, that we realized that the smartphone mobile revolution that was happening could actually potentially unlock a problem that many had tried to solve before, but had not successfully done so.
This was a couple years after Uber had launched. How much was Uber sort of a blueprint?
It was very different. It was black cars. It was everyone can have its private driver. Ours was just, hey, how do we make sure that women like Ling have the best safe alternative out there and in a very affordable way?
So if you were to Google world's worst taxis 7 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, the top hit for the first page or two would have been Kuala Lumpur, which is Malaysia's city capital. That's the environment we grew up in. Even worse, the moment I became an adult, I was working late at McKinsey. So there was no real alternative. I couldn't drive myself home because I would fall asleep at the car. It was late nights. My mom and I developed a manual GPS tracking system. So back then, we were during the Nokia good old phone days. No smartphones, no GPS tracking. And I would literally text her the car number plates, the name of the driver and the license that of the car and taxi I got into. I would text her whenever I hit any of the major milestones of landmarks that we would pre-agree on, so that she would know if I was 15 minutes away, 7 minutes away, or just around the corner. Because every single night, she would sleep in front of our couch, something that looks like this, waiting for me.
So you launch. At what point do you realize this is going to be big?
We never thought that this would be. It's a miracle. I'll be upfront that where we are. That's
Your mom
right,
was your
exactly,
first VC, right?
Exactly. My mom and I, we put in everything we had, and I don't think we ever imagined it'll be the company it is today.
Yep.
Talk to me about those early days growing the company.
It was tough, really tough. We would set up a table, a plastic table, that probably cost $2 right by the drains of the monsoon drains, beside gas stations, because they would come, taxis would come by gas stations. So we would say, hey, uncle, give us a shot, and then we'll give you like some nasi lemak, which is like a rice or like a breakfast rice or a little drink that costs 20 cents. And then if they didn't have a smartphone, we would, we flew to a few OEMs and we talked to some OEMs to subsidize some phones for us in the beginning, because we just couldn't afford smartphones. And then whether it was in Singapore or Jakarta or wherever, literally window by window, knocking window by window, going, uncle, while they're lining up, whether it's an airport or by a gas station, and convincing them one by one. Dara just came in. He said, look, guys, doesn't make sense to just continue having this street fight